Hello and welcome. This is Mateusz Myślicki, meme on Mtgo, and we are recording an introduction to the weekly daily. We are gonna be recording Type 2. This is a little odd time to record a Type 2 deck because there's a rotation on Mtgo in a week and a half, I believe, and like the in the real world, the cards from Dragon's Maze are starting to be legal in 4 days, I believe, on Thursday. Like when I record it, it goes online probably the end of this week. But there's really not much else to record with on MTGO right now. The Modern is still like the bans have been announced, but they still like not introduced. They're gonna be up on the MTGO on 8th of May, I believe. Right now you can still play eggs, which in my opinion impacts meta a lot. And I want to try some new decks, possibly post the X ban. And block obviously doesn't have sense. I could record Delver, but I probably want to leave it for next week. And there's still one PTQ to be played in this standard, and I think it's worth to show a deck that actually I think is very good for it. So last week I showed Zagana. I was initially quite happy with the deck, but then I started to having those inconsistent draws, and it fell out of my favor. I wasn't happy with like Zagana needs to do everything perfectly in the right order. You basically need to curve out super good. So if you're not doing this, this deck is pretty much miserable. So I thought I'm gonna try something else, and then on stream someone recommended this to me. This originated in red green Sage deck, Giant Sage deck. And was I think built by Cedric Phillips. I know that he streamed a lot with it and like made a top 8 or top 4 of SCG Open with it. So credits obviously go to him. I didn't change a lot in the main deck. I changed quite a lot in the sideboard, but I'm gonna get to it in a minute. So Cedric added a color. We're gonna get to it why in a second, but first let's go through all the specifics of the deck. So the deck obviously plays a bunch of 5 and 4 drops. That's why it needs an Arbor Elf. And it sometimes can play just like a Phantom Hellcat on turn 4 or like a fucking Aristocrat on turn 3. Initial and in like original list, this is a Hell Rider. Uh, plays a Burning Tree Emissary and another 8 2-drops. There's 4 Flinthoof Boars and there's Giant Sages. Um, you don't usually play this card very aggressively. Like you will sometimes have draws where you prefer to play Giant Sage turn 2 and then turn 3 like play a Burning Tree Emissary, level it up by 1, play a land, and then play like a Falcon of Aristocrat or Gorkan Rampager. So this is like synergic with the Giant Sage and with your like ramp plan. It also sometimes allows you those draws where you just go like Burning Tree, Flintwood Bar, and just have 5 power on the board, and they just have to deal with it. So that's also definitely a thing. It plays 3 Flinthoof Boar. It's just a very solid creature right now. 3/3 for 2 mana, and it can get hasty. It's pretty much insane. It plays 3 Borderland Ranger to stabilize your mana. There's 1 swamp, 2 mountains, and 3 forests in the mana base, so it looks for all of them. And now we're getting to the reason why black has been added. So this deck initially has Hellrider, but I never liked Hellrider in this meta. it gets killed by like any decent creature. It doesn't even trade with Loxodon Smite, or it gets killed by Central Healer, by I don't know, Frontline Medic, by a lot of things, and it doesn't have evasion. And this deck doesn't even play that much creatures you can attack with uh, Hellrider. It just plays like a bunch of cards for 2 mana, but like the Thundermouse and Falker aristocrats are very important, so I basically want to cast all of those. You will often also want to cast Gold Crown Rampager, like a Draw Wolf, Gyre Sage turn 2, Burning Tree Emissary turn 3, and like play a land, tap this for mana, get mana from this, get 4th mana from a land, play a Rampager is definitely a possibility, and it levels up your Sage again, and then you can just fund them all. Hopefully we get to see some of those synergic draws because I like them very much about this deck. And even if you're not getting those synergic draws, then just like a bunch of removal and Phantom of Hellcats is pretty insane anyway for this meta, so I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, that's the main deck. It's like it wants to do one thing. It just wants to bash your opponent on the head. It's very good against mono red because you can often just race against them. And if you just play a one Flint Hoof Boar and like one Burning Tree Emissary, they often just can't do nothing because they can't attack with the Noble or with the tutus. The small red green is a little worse for us because they have a Gorka and Ampager and they can just devastate this plan, but I think it's still favorable. So yeah, the bad matchups are the original red-green list is a bad matchup because they have better mana, it's less painful. They have a Hellrider which is more consistent in dealing damage and can just sometimes block, while Falcon Aristocrat can nearly never block. And they have a Silverheart, which we can't deal in any way other than Dreadbore, so this is a bad matchup. And the Revelation decks are not very good. I mean, Zagana is probably around 50-50. You get to kill their creatures. Mizumoto's is very good against them. They're quite inconsistent. But I don't like to play against Blue-Eyed Red or Esper at all. So yeah, let's get to the sideboard. So all it being said, the sideboard is divided into sections, you might say. I'm not sure about Zero's conscripts, by the way, in the sideboard. Maybe there should be something else. Okay, so there's 2 ground seal. Let's start from the obvious. It's against any graveyard strategies. Sometimes I'm gonna bring it against blue-eyed red. Obviously goes in against junk, just 2. Junk is not a very bad matchup. We can just smash their face until they die. So that's a possibility. There's 6 removal package. I added Sever the Bloodline for all the irritating silver hearts and like tokens, the lingering source tokens, like another way to kill them next to Phantom Hellkites. It kills the Falkenrath aristocrat. It deals with like multiple Burning Tree emissaries. I want to test it. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I definitely want a way to deal with the big creatures like Silverheart or like Deadbridge Goliath, which is like has problems with. There's another 2 Dreadbore, just a very efficient sorcerer speed removal. That's a problem that this deck has like no instant speed removal, but that's usually fine because you just want to kill stuff on your turn and just get in for damage. There's 2 Pillar of Flame. Zombies are still getting appearances. It's pretty good against aristocrats. It also gets in for the mirror, which is go for the removal plan. So yeah, it's okay over there. The 2 handmasters are basically against the aggressive matchups. I think that the matchup is pretty good. That's why only 2 handmasters, but I like to have that little something against them. We have quite a lot to side out against them. We need to side out the aristocrats, and some of the giant sages and dragons are not the best. So there's a lot of space. What's that? Okay, sorry for that. And yeah, and there's Chooser's conscripts. I've got them for the mirror. They're obviously synergic with the Falcon of Aristocrats and for the Aristocrats, but those are quite fringe matchups. I'm quite convinced that there should be a fourth Domri, so probably one of those conscripts should be a fourth Domri, and maybe something else. I don't know why. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't think that Big Garuk is a thing here, but maybe just go down to one conscript. So I'm gonna play this event out with two conscripts, but I'm nearly sure they should be cut. Something else. Like I said, I'm testing this deck, like rebuilding it from from what I got from the link that someone linked me from the Cedric's article. I like the main deck. I didn't like the sideboard at all. So yeah. Oh, and in the main deck, I forgot about one thing. When I was talking about creatures, that there's obviously a removal suit here. This 2 red boar, which is allowed by black, and that's a very good removal. Just kills anything you want. Deck has the red-green version has huge problems dealing with the Reckoner, and the red boar helps here a lot. The original list has Bonfire of the Damned, but I don't like this card at all in this deck. I tested it for a while in Naya when I was playing it, and I was very underwhelmed with it. I think that in the meta right now, you really need to sometimes take something out of a point removal, like, I don't know, a creature with a volcanic strength on it. And also, overloading Mission Mortars deals 4 damage with to your opponent's board, and Bonfire in the same position deals 2. Well, leaves you with 1 mana, but this is X2 Bonfire. And killing the 4 and 3 toughness creatures is very relevant in this environment. I can think about Restoration Angel, Loxodon Smiter, obviously, the All-Star, the Beast tokens, the Frontline Medic, which also counters Bonfire, by the way, that is like not very relevant. Even a Reckoner, if you overload it, is fine. So I prefer Mortars a lot, and they did me a lot of good, and I would never switch them back to Bonfire. I think that Bonfire is quite crappy. I think that people only play it because it costs 25 ticks. And the only argument I can find for Bonfire is Blitz and Junk. And both of those decks are in quite heavy retreat. And Museum Mortars isn't even terrible against Junk as it is. And also against Blitz, they can just have like a frontline medic and your bonfire might be useless. Um, so yeah, that's the deck. I played about 50 matches with it. I think I have like around 70% win ratio, which I'm very happy about. It does a lot of powerful stuff, so hopefully you like it, and see you around 1.